What's going on, everybody? My name is Austin. You are back with Perkify Gaming, and we are here with Tiny Bunny. I played the demo a while back. Oh, I hate that sound. But just got the full release a little bit ago. It contains offensive languages and scenes of physical and psychological violence. Proceed with caution. Ooh. Yeah, I played the demo a while back, and I would not. I have to do this from the start. That is unfortunate. That is super loud. The wind clawed on a window all night long. It wandered the fields and howled like a weird beast. Nevertheless saw weak weak from all sorts of voices. Shrill, gentle, sneering, twined in the air. They were shouting and laughing and arguing about something. Someone was running through the snow while casting long shadows that would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own. The creaky old mind of a building that had seen a lot in its days, and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with the inhabitants. Just for reference, I can't hear myself. This game is so loud that I can't. You can't hear me either. Oh, that was a problem. All right. Hope you're reading along, boys and girls. Hope you learn to sound it out. Yeah, but I can't hear myself. This game is very loud. The lonely house faced the forest, and the dark green thicket gazed back with its hollow eyes, rustling, whizzing, swaying back and forth. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves there was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fuzzy silhouettes swaying in the wind couldn't possibly do any harm. It's just a play of light and shadow. Just a play. I knew it was just my imagination. I was already 12 after all. Still. Oh, I. Did you guys see the face in the window? There was not my face. It wasn't your face. It was like a fox. Episode 1, the owl will arrive. I can hear myself now, by the way. That wind was like, whoosh!
Убери книгу немедленно.
Huh? Hey, put your book. Put away your book.
Сколько раз говорила, не читай за столом, вредно. Сидишь, сутулился весь.
How many times have I told you not to read at the table? It's bad for your health. Look at how slouched you are. I didn't protest and put the book about Conan and the Barbarian aside. I was stuck on a line I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyway. Olya had already finished her breakfast and was munching on some cookies. She was so enthusiastic. She almost looked like a typical girl from commercials.
Пока не съешь, из-за стола не встанешь.
You're not going anywhere until you finish all of it. I, on the other hand, was still trying to drill a hole in the plate with my eyes, as if it would make the pores disappear. Hazy anxiousness welled up inside, all because of the previous sleepless night, the black forest around our house, and the gloomy wind. The longer I waited, the colder the lumpy white substance became. It looked like a jellyfish crawled from the Cousteau Odyssey. I love that show. Wonder how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is, or how cold the black forest is at night. The spoon fell out of my hand. Mom showered me with a cold glare from her green eyes.
Что я говорила?
What did I just say?
Я достану.
I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before battling the nasty forge once again. I felt around for the spoon. What is this carved on the other side of the table? Karina. Hey, it's my mom's name. I guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. She sure was a rascal, damaging the furniture like that. She would scold me for a week if I did something similar, though. Should I remind her about it? No, she's been in a bit of a bad mood lately. I imagine her being my age sitting under this table. Wonder, was Mom afraid of the dark back then? Or sounds coming from the attic? Or the thick forest? I imagine my grandma coming into my little mom's room, sitting at the edge of her bed where Olia sleeps nowadays, and saying this in her soft, smooth voice.
Тайга особое место, дитятка.
Taiga is a special place, little
Она
girl.
к тебе
It's watching you
присматривается,
closely, sniffing you out,
принюхивается, словно
trying
хочет
to
понять,
discern
что
what
ты
kind
за
of beast
зверь
you are.
такой.
If
Понравишься,
you're a
в
good
беде
sort,
не бросит.
it won't abandon you in times of trouble.
А будешь
But if you are a
проказничать,
bad apple,
схватит
it'll
за
grab you by the
бочок
side and drag
и
you under the
утащит
ground.
с собой под землю. Тут и дело
And
с
that
концом.
would be it. Grandma was caring. She never fought with anybody, never yelled, never swore. Those were the times without the maddening screams until late at night, without smashed dishes and mutual accusations. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in on one of their conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. She had already bought a casket, and she called it her cute funeral box. It waited for its time in the closet, patiently. It was black, upholstered with meat-colored material on the inside. I saw my grandma was getting buried. The house didn't change since the time she was alive. Why did it go dark? Only all of the photos were gone. Glass covered pictures of the grave faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead but watchful look in their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Olia was done with her cookies and was looking at my share of the sly woodland critter. I turned my gaze toward the frosted window. There were a lot of dark pines, but they didn't grab my attention. The pattern of the frost formed a picture on the glass.
Оля, гляди, лиса!
See, it's like a fox or a wolf. It's a fox. Olia, look, it's a fox.
Где?
Where? It almost looked like those optical illusion thingies they put on the back of students' notebooks. A mixture of lines at first glance, but if you blur your vision a little bit and look under a certain angle.
Да не на улице, на
Not
стекле.
outside, on the window.
Смотри, вот нос,
Look,
вот.
here's a nose and
Ну-ка,
here's...
доедай.
Hey, eat up.
Да, да,
Yes,
сейчас.
yes, just a moment.
Я ничего не вижу.
I don't see anything.
Живо.
Hurry up,
Совсем
there's
немного
not much
осталось.
left.
А,
Ah, there it is.
Но
But
все
it
равно
doesn't
не
look like one.
похоже. А я говорю, похоже.
I'm telling you it does.
Не-а.
Nuh-uh,
Похоже.
it does.
Прекратите.
Stop it.
Ну что за дети?
These kids, I swear. Oh, it's gone. Now I couldn't see the fox either. It disappeared. Went away. Only the frosty pattern, similar to stretched out nettle leaves, kept creeping up the glass. My dad entered the kitchen with long measured steps. I want to have a beard like his when I grow up. Man, me too. I just keep shaving mine because my boss. I haven't had a haircut in like 2 months. Mom would always ask jokingly, "Come on, shave it off. It stings." This was so long ago. Nowadays, rumbling doors and witty comebacks were an everyday occurrence. Olia always covers her ears when she hears something like that. What's the point in all this? Through the walls. It's all for your sake, Dad would reply. For the sake of our family. Always caught every sound and feared hearing the most dreaded, the deadliest word that started with a D. Dementia. Dartboard. Duck. Daredevil. I'm not getting any closer, am I? D-I-V-O. Devoted. That's D-E. Oh, I promise I'm not stupid. It's just late and I'm tired. May have a little bit of drink. I don't even want to finish it. It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister could be torn apart and taken into 2 different families.
Да что твоя лиса?
Anyway, your fox is
Вот у
nothing.
меня
I have an
на
owl on
окне
my window.
сова.
Опять ты со
You and
своей
your owl
семьей.
talk again.
Так ты же вчера мне
You said you
верил.
believed me just yesterday.
Никто ключи от машины не видел?
Anybody see my car keys?
Вроде
I remember
оставлял
leaving
на
them on the
подоконнике.
windowsill.
Вроде.
Right.
Вроде оставлял,
Maybe you did,
вроде нет.
and maybe not.
Вроде взрослый
You're a
мужчина,
grown man,
отец двоих
a
детей,
father
а
too.
вроде...
And still,
Перестань, пожалуйста,
Karina,
Карина.
please stop.
Дай мне
Just let me
спокойно
get ready in
собраться.
peace. It's a little close, because like here's the thing: is like, so I'm gonna get sidetracked from the story, but last week I think I got called into work at overtime because they needed my help, and they offered me a ride to work, and so I took it. And I was getting ready for work. I woke Tasha up today, be like, "Hey, do you mind, making me some lunch or something so I can get ready for work?" And the whole time it was just gripe about how I shouldn't be going to work and how I shouldn't be doing this, and I don't need to go to work, and I don't need to be working all as much as I do, and this and that, and this and that. And of course, after I left, a lot of it was just her being tired and stuff like that. But afterwards, she texted me and apologized, but like still, just like, damn it, lady, I'm trying to get ready for work in peace. Shut up.
В корзине твои
Keys
ключи,
are the
возле
basket to the
телефона.
phone.
Огромное
Well,
тебе
thank you very
человеческое
much.
спасибо. Антон, ешь быстрее, а то как мученик сидишь.
Anton, stop making martyr out of yourself and finish eating
А
already.
сова
But the owl.
Не было там
There
никакой
was no
совы.
owl.
была.
But there was one.
Глазюки
They had giant glowing eyes.
и светятся.
Olivia sprung up from the chair and placed her hands on her little face, imitating a pair of eyes with her fingers the size of an apple each. Like that, maybe? Because that is the size of an apple. Like, maybe like that?
В прошлом году бабай в шкафу.
Last year
Сейчас
you
сова.
had Babai in her closet. Now this owl? The glossary. Babai. In Slavic folklore, a nocturnal spirit used by parents to threaten their ill-behaving children. Well, it sounds like she should have behaved.
Но я же
But
видела.
I saw it. Lily shifted her gaze back and forth from Dad to Mom to me, but couldn't find any support.
А ты не думала
Have
подружиться
you
с
thought
ней,
about
нет?
befriending it?
Вымышленными
Like feeding
мышами
it with
покормить,
imaginary
например.
mice?
Не подначивай ребенка.
Don't bully our girl.
Просто мала
She's
еще.
just afraid to
И
sleep
спать
alone
одна
because
боится.
she's still little. Lydia powdered her lips in rebellion and rushed into the hallway. The staircase that led to the second floor creaked. Mom gave Dad a strict look. Oh, that look in her eyes. It's uncomfortable to be pinned under it. Dad just snorted in reply and left, bringing with the keys he just found. A minute had passed, and the theme song from The Little Mermaid echoed through the house. It's weird because, initially when I played the demo of this game, there was no voice acting, which is good and bad, really, because I like voice acting in games, especially if it's just a visual novel like this game is. But like, it needs to be more universal is my problem, because yeah, I'm reading it, but like, it's so distracting to try to read what I'm seeing in English, but also listen to it in, I think this is Russian. They're talking about Slavic folklore. I think Slavic is Russian. I may be wrong. I'm not like a genius, but I think this is Russian. And so, like, if you're gonna put voice acting in a game, especially with that, you're gonna make it more prevalent. Like in this one, you should probably make it to where you have voice actors for different, languages. No, but it's cool that it's still in English. I can read it, but like, I don't want to listen to. Actually, I probably shut that off now I'm thinking about it. Instead of griping about it. Voice. Yes. Okay, now there will be no voice. Only my voice. That's the only voice that's gonna be in this game anymore. Because listening to it in Russian is annoying. It was stored on an incredibly worn out cassette tape, which Dad already had to glue together once. Can you put a glued tape in a VHS system? Does anyone even know what a VHS system is anymore? I had one growing up, but I don't know about the younger generation. It's so easy to fix objects by gluing them back together, for example. But how do you fix a relationship? Lots of glue. Mom moved to the living room, and I was left alone, anxiously stealing glances at the window. Olia had trouble sleeping ever since we moved to this house. She would toss and turn or curl up into a ball under her blanket. Sometimes she would jump up in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped to take her mind off all the troubles we had with the move and our parents. I don't like that. I don't remember that being in the demo either. Then Olia said she saw the giant flying monster outside her window. Is that the owl? It's a big fucking owl! She became obsessed with it. Our parents did everything in their power. They tried every little trick to get rid of those ridiculous fears. Olia refused to sleep alone and didn't believe that the owl was just one of her nightmares. After last night, I was unsure what to make of my sister's words, what to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? That night, I couldn't get a wink of sleep and ended up thinking of what to expect from my new school. There were a couple of days left at the beginning of a new term. Imagination drew long, twisting hallways that led to a classroom full of kids. But all the students behind their desks were simply dark figures, cut out using a template. I want to say something, but this is loud. Circular holes gaped in the middle of their faces, and pairs of eyes blinked inside those holes. It was as if some completely different creature were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouette. So here's the thing. Now it's quieted down a little bit. You know, there's a study done that talks about like faces. Like it's according to some scientists, it is almost impossible to create your own human face with your mind. Like every face that you see in a dream or you can think of, like you've seen it before. They say that you've seen every face before. Maybe it's worth paying enough attention to build place it to where you've seen it. But the human mind is actually unable to make up faces. I don't know how true that is. I'm not a scientist. It's a cool little tidbit of bullshit. Their cruel glares, filled with icy sneers, made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive here? Damn it, I missed one. Won't they gang up on me and beat me down? Stomp me with their bloody shoes? That damn school can burn for all I care. I just wished for anything to happen to it. It doesn't really matter what. I didn't want to go there that badly. I didn't want to see people who were just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of a new offensive name for me, worse than the previous one. I need to delete that. I felt like the glasses I wore made me more of an outsider or some sort of monster. My gaze slid across the drawings hanging on the walls. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olia begged me to hang them. Drawing was the only thing that made me happy as of late. A small circle of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagine Mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "Ow, my chest. That hurt." Oh. Sometimes I imagine my mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You got the wrong number." Or, "Anton is not around." Anton is not around. I imagine my future classmates lying in their beds, just like me, listening to the howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates will like me after all. But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? And my dad used to wear glasses when he was little. I was married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, my mom. A house creak, pressed by the wind. The condo we used to live in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with the neighbor's drill, mumbled with a TV set from behind the wall, cried like a baby from the big family next door. Our current house, though I can't really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easygoing during the day. Its shadows lay dormant in corners on the closet cobwebs and under the stairs. But they all woke up during the night. Sometimes, something was watching me from every corner, almost as if the old photos of my deceased family with their ashen eyes were hanging on the walls in place of my drawings. The floor was squeaky. Rusty drains were moaning. The attic was occupied by noisy giraffes. One could think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was, in fact, hearing music. It was already playing for a good while. Somewhere at the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed in with the sound of the wind, of the creaking old house, and my thoughts too. I stood up and rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that the music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. It's not like someone is playing it there amidst a cold, snowy night, right? Someone was dancing in the field. Black silhouettes I could barely make out with the dark forest as their backdrop. Jumped around, basked in moonlight, bumped into piles of snow, rolled around and crawled on all fours. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. I don't know, they all look kind of wolfish to me. It's the companions. They're enjoying the victory. They stood upright at times, circled around holding hands and whipping up snow, disappearing into the shadows for a brief moment and then coming back. Something bizarre was going on. Shadows dancing in the starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Suddenly the music stopped. I remember this from the demo. The dancing shadows froze in place and I could swear pierced me with their eyes. One of them starts running towards the window. I'm gonna hate every bit of this. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with giant leaps. It glided on the squeaky snow without leaving any prints until it was devoured by the pitch-black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart was jumping around like a bird inside a cage. I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back toward the bed. They saw me. A freezing torrent of fear washed over me. I stood in the middle of a perfectly dark room and listened to some unwanted guests move and scrape around looking for an entrance. The sound moved to the right, and circled around the house. Now my guest should be at the front door. I jumped into bed and covered myself with a blanket as if it could protect me. The shackles of fear locked my muscles. I remembered the funeral, my grandma laying there. Hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp, like that of a tin doll. Hands running up and down the legs of chairs that held my grandma's casket. Imagine those little creatures climbing up her head and pulling up her eyelids with their tiny legs. Then her wrinkly eyeballs once again moved inside their sockets that she'd be able to see her grandchildren. I was chanting the spell she taught me throughout the whole procedure. Now, lying under the blanket listening to the squeaks and howls, I repeat the same words. On the island of Buyan, underneath the blemished sun, and sea of color blue, stands a cabin made of wood. Evil, leave this house, must. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Bizarre sound had disappeared. I cautiously peeked out from under the blanket and saw my curtains waving around like a hanged man. The night doused me with a new portion of boiling terror. The sound scratched my eardrums. In reality, it's something where someone was scratching at the front door, hurriedly clawing at wood, demanding to be let in. The door was shut. That had become very cautious recently, so he installed a sturdy lock. I remember him staring at the forest intently as if he was looking for someone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I hugged my knees, placed my chin between them, and drilled the door in my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the might of darkness. And then, the doorknob twitched, slightly. Then it turned halfway, once, twice, as if the person who tried to enter had no hands. The drum tilted once more and then started clicking violently. My jaw cramped from fear, my wet fingers clutched into the blanket. The door creaked and opened. The wind taunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. Now you'll see. The door was wide open. Darkness writhed inside the cavernous mouth of a doorway. Ooh, I remember this one. I remember this, it scared the shit out of me the first time. It was as if the night itself was calling out to me, flapping its black wings and squeaking with rusty hinges. I was trembling, staring by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who weaved it to come out of the gaping black hole.
Tony! I had been tightened. My chest rose up, ready to exhale a desperate scream before I was able to do anything. Darkness asked me, Tasha? You asleep? Such a pale face protruded from the thick shadows. I almost screamed from relief. Olya? I'm not sleeping. Did something happen? Olya frowned and stuck out her lower lip. A clear sign she was about to cry. It's there, again, staring at me. Shoo her away, Tasha, please. I'm so scared. The fear that was tormenting me just a minute ago crawled away and hid somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olya down. It was just a dream, silly. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's going to harm you. Olya sobbed. She was trying her best to believe me. But was I sure of myself? I have an idea. Let's go to your room and watch the video of Sleeping Beauty, for example. You like that cartoon, don't you? Why does Sleeping Beauty have a prince and I have this scary bird? That question took me by surprise. Alright, well, let's watch Cinderella. My thoughts became tangled, fuzzy. What was that? What stuck me with eyes while dancing feverishly under the moon? Darkness would cling to the window, and it couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. It couldn't be satisfied with the feast of lard and long ashen hair. Tasha, you coming? Yes, just a moment. I remember that from the demo. That's why I didn't want to laugh at Olya and her owl in the morning. Dang it! Who could be visiting us here in the middle of the nowhere? Sorry. We don't know anyone around here. Dang it! Persistent. Get off my door! Was extremely unsettled just from a silly thought that our morning guest could have come from the woods. I could barely hear voices coming from the front door. My mind was urging me to hide. Take a sippy sip. In the closet, under the table, behind the curtains where Olya always hides. Tasha, come here. Well, I thought his name was Tony. Whoops, Tasha. I felt like kettlebells were tied to my feet, but still dragged them toward the hallway. A couple of policemen towered over me in the doorway. They smelled like frost and worry. My mom always winced and grumbled the moment she saw patrol cars, worse than bandits. At the moment, though, she looked somewhat confused. Hello. The senior officer wore a grim expression and nodded. The boy had gone missing yesterday. His name is Vova. Look at this, please. Have you seen him? The policeman held out a photograph to me. There's a ginger boy around the age of elementary school, pictured with a wall carpet as the backdrop. He had a striped cat in his hands and wore a wide smile. No, I haven't. Are you sure? Look closely. Where would I see him? I don't know anyone around here. I barely leave the house. Well, maybe you've seen him from the window. That's right, your windows look straight into the forest, don't they? The window? No, I haven't seen anything. I see. He sounded tired, but his eyes, his stare, long and heavy, was full of suspicion. I squirmed unwittingly under the weight of guilt, which his giant shadow cast over me. The policeman finally tore his eyes from me and glanced over the hallway, the stairway, and the cracks in the ceiling, which I hadn't noticed for some reason. I like a new place, by the way. Getting used to it? Bit by bit. It's just our little daughter misses the city a lot. Misses the city, huh? The locals been treating you well? Yes, everything is alright, thank you. The policeman pierced through me one more time with his gray eyes. My head started spinning. Can I help you somehow? I asked that in a shaky voice to look like a playboy and to end this unpleasant conversation sooner. Now that I think about it, you look just like one of my nephews, little fella. He's a witty boy around your age, wears the same type of goggles. Always engrossed in reading those mystery novels. Told me he wants to enroll in police school when his family visited this summer. want to help other people just like me, see? Felt uncomfortable, as if a distant relative and not a police officer stood before me. You know what, little boys like you should stay at home. Steer away from trouble. Times have changed so much. Mom interjected in a cold voice. You don't say. Ah, well then. What grade are you in, Anton? 6th. Have you made any friends here so far? Not yet. I'll be going to school for the first time after the break. Ah, then I'll leave you my number just in case. Call me if you have any new info. The policemen were gone, along with the shadows, smell of cheap cologne, and the photo of a smiling boy. His face stood still before my eyes. Wonder what it was like for him, being all alone there. Making drinking plans still. It has been a long fucking time since I've had any alcohol. I was trying to cut myself off a little bit because I had a bit of a problem. I still do, but I'm trying to cut myself off a little bit, but work's been so stressful I need it. For some reason I thought of the forest swaying in the wind. What does poor parents feel? What would my parents do if I had gone missing? Would they cry and thrash around hysterically? Or would they accuse each other like they always do and forget about me eventually? Mom, this Vova, did he go missing in our forest? Seems like it. Poor child. Looked out the window at the road. The police UAZ drove off. Up in zoom! The officer's nephew came to mind when I was splitting off old paint from the windowsill. Remembered all those teenage mystery novels from the Black Kitty series I've read this summer. Black Kitty. A series of contemporary Russian original or translated teen mystery books. Your average boy and girls investigated all sorts of mysteries there. They looked for clues, fight on suspicious people, and after a set of amazing adventures, bam! Solved any complicated case. They became local celebrities and must have made their parents very proud. I noticed a trail of policemen's footprints that led to the forest. Then it clicked in my head. Why don't I start an investigation of my own? Maybe I'll find the lost boy and I'll get a reward. Olya will be so happy. Not only Olya, Mom and Dad too. Maybe they'll even forget about their quarrels for a while. Maybe they'll even save us from the D word. Ah, I got it now. Dick. That's D. I figured it out. I fantasized about buying Olya a Tamagotchi and getting a cassette player and a bunch of tapes for myself. I heard a while back that Tamagotchis were coming back. I can't find them anywhere. I looked it up, but I still don't find anybody selling them, but damn it. A whole box of Kinder Surprise. When was the last time our parents bought us any toys? Last autumn, I think. My dad had lost his job at the time. There's this annoying song about it. Why are you underlying song? Accountant. What? I had little to no idea what was the accountant's job like. They count money, I think. Neighbors used to envy us. But nowadays, Mom and Dad barely had money to afford sweets, and Dad would always divide a single chocolate bar between me and Olya. Sometimes I give her my share too. No matter how much I wanted to eat sweets, she was still just a pipsqueak. I couldn't wait to go out looking for clues. I'm going outside! Yeah, right. You want the police to go around with your photograph next? The forest is too thick. What if the boy got snatched up by wild animals, or something even worse? Even worse, I go through the hallway. Won't go far. I'll stay away from the forest. Did you hear what I said, or should I repeat myself? Better go pack your school bag or play with Olya. They didn't start out like splashing water. The sound of splashing water came from the kitchen. It meant that the argument was over and Mom had the last word. was there. I'm sorry. A dark, stuffy closet. Mom says it smells like mice, but how would she know their smell? She hates when I stick my nose in there. She's afraid I'll cut myself on the freshly sharpened axe. Boyle can't even be alert close to it. She thinks Babai is in there. I tried to help her fight her fears once. I opened the door and turned on a dim lamp so she could see there was nothing but cobwebs and Dad's tools and scratched walls. She still didn't believe me. I like to hide in the closet and listen to Olia count outside. 1, 2, 3, better hide from me. And then drag her feet on the creaking floorboards, hoping that she wouldn't need to look for me in the cramped monster's den. Oh. Mom's peg top. I found my relic. My mom played with it when she was little, and she gifted it to me. Olia was next in the succession line. The toy belonged to her now. She stared at the dancing spindle as if it could show her something, a fairy tale or maybe even our future. Now even my little sister was a bit too old for the old squeaky peg top. This cross has seen so many people come and go in this house. It was black as if it absorbed all the human sin from long years it was hanging on the ceiling. After Grandma died, Mom was going to take it off and hang a horseshoe in its place as a lucky charm, but she cut herself with the cross's sharp corner and almost fell from the stepladder. Dad called it a sign from above and ordered the cross to be left alone in its rightful place. So I wonder if that means that the grandma is the dad's mom. Or was, I guess. My parents prohibit me from making long-distance calls, but from time to time I really want to hear from my old friends. Sometimes I would just pick up the phone, listen to the low hum of the zoomer and the distant crackling. I'm imagining the wind howling and the ice-laden chords. Grandma kept ice cream for me and Olia there, but now I can only see meat bits for soup and clumped together pelmeni. I grew to hate them already. Pelmeni, a Russian variety of dumplings made by boiling thin, unleavened dough filled with mincemeat. One may even call it Russian fast food. I'd try it. It's difficult to lie to Mom, but there's no other way for me to run away from home. Mom, something's wrong with the TV. The picture is dim and there are stripes all over the screen. Mom's face became visibly distorted. Oh, you're killing me here. So you had enough of shooting those stupid ducks now? Told you Kind Scope will go dim because of your console. Where do we find a TV technician in this hole, huh? Maybe it's just the settings? Please go see for yourself. Strange, it worked fine in the morning. Maybe the snowfall caused it. Mom rubbed her hands clean on Rayburn and went to Ollie's room. Yes. Bye. Opened the front gate, went into the field. Carefully so Mom wouldn't see me from the window. When I crossed half the distance toward the forest, the snow piles became as high as my knees. I remembered my nightly fears. I saw those silhouettes around here. They were jumping round, holding hands. The hypnotizing music started playing in my head all on its own. In the light of day, those distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmares to ash, but the aftertaste was still there, distant ringing in my ears. Distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me, and a barely audible whisper in my head, blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent. So silent, I felt like the world was totally empty. No ground, no sky, no parents, no Olia. The time reached its limit, a one-way trip that ended at the forest's piney stockade. Sometimes silence was so much scarier than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing, and both me and Olia turned to stone listening to them. But then always came the ringing silence. Our apartment became numb a couple days before we departed. It was hard to remember the last time Mom and Dad joked around, laughing, or spent time together, almost like all of it was their previous life. When they kissed with Olia present, she always frowned and snorted in a funny way. One day it all changed. Something important had left our home. Something scary filled the remaining void. It was as if a fire broke out and our parents were hurriedly packing our belongings trying to save themselves and us. From who, though? From the people with dead cold eyes who sometimes visited us in our previous home? Eyes that only saw balls of worms on the black ground and everything? And somewhere far away a siren was going off, trying to warn us of the coming menace. I shuddered, chasing away my delusions. My delusions and looked around. There was only me, this white field, and the wind that was whipping up icy gusts and belts of powdered snow. I squinted from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. It looked especially dark in contrast with the blinding whiteness. Knobby tree roots slithered under snow like fat snakes. Rotten leaves and coniferous needles froze into the ice. Dry, prickly branches intertwined, bringing up uncomfortable thoughts about fences. Or were they protecting the forest? Or were they keeping something from breaking out? Some object was hanging from one of the pointy branches. I tried to get closer, drowning in snow. When I almost got to the edge of the forest, I saw a knitted mitten. It looked like a wounded bird among the hungering semi-dark. Should I take it to the police? The senior officer looked gloomy, but he reminded me of Captain Casanova, a favorite TV show called The Streets of Broken Lights. A Russian mystery TV series telling the story of the daily life of Russian police officers. It's the longest running series in the history of Russian TV at the moment. He was also always anxious, with a tired look in his eyes, but still brave and strong. Will this mitten help me find the lost boy? Vova! Heard us shout. Looked like it came from the river. Vova! As if the trees were calling out to someone. Vova! It sounded closer to me. Someone was standing there, behind the trees, hiding. Vova! I knew someone was looking for the lost boy, but still, something was unsettling about that figure. Its stillness, how it was bent unnaturally toward the ground. Its blackness. There's no one there, just branches and roots. It's all just my imagination. Nearby a bird flaps its wings loudly. I apologize. The fuck? How about get the AG double fuck out of here? The shadow slipped from the tree and disappeared from my sight. Looked away for just a moment, but I turned my gaze back to the same place. It was gone. So it was my imagination after all. Silence reigned for a painfully long time. There's tracks. Hold on. There's tracks. That's not an up and zoom. Muscles were tightly strung, my heart was beating somewhere in my throat. Any noise, any little movement, any small whisper from the thicket and I'd sprint. But nothing of the sort happened. Looked at the mid once more. I decided to take the lonely mitten from the branch. Oh! Ah! For sure, a shot rumbled across the field and was home in the distance. No echo, no hope for a reply. I'm shaking my leg. By the way, I don't know if you can see if it's bouncing, but my leg is shaking. I stepped toward the bristly trees and tried to claim my find. It didn't budge. I pulled harder, the branch cracked, the mitten tore off, landing in my hand with a squishy sound. All too heavy, wet. I squeezed it without thinking, something dark spilled from it, only a tiny string between the mitten and the snow. Steam rose from the snowy pile. I froze in place, studying my palms in disgust. Red. Sound of cracking branches invading the silence. Didn't have to think twice before running away. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking the pine branches, floating just with a giant leap. Someone slowing me down. Crazy thoughts flew through my mind. I'll get caught. They'll get me. I'll get dragged to the thicket. I'll be gone forever. But there was one more voice, probably one of the recent. Give me strength and spurred me on. You can do it. Don't stop. I heard an animal roar behind me. It was so loud my ears went numb. It felt like the sound had come from a pack of hungry beasts rather than a single one. Their nostrils sucked in freezing air. They sensed my fear. Two giant wings flapped above my head. An almost shout flew over, declaring, a we. The roars were coming from all directions now. Went right up raspberry bush, twisted pine, whip palm. Hurry, run, don't look back. It felt like I was inside a nightmare. The snowy clearing became vicious like wishbone. I was stuck in place, pulled my leg from the mushy trap just to be caught in a new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking deeper and deeper with every desperate push. Was snow ever this sticky? I screamed out in horror, I realized it wasn't snow. Someone or something in the snow pile was pushing my pants. I gathered all my strength and rushed forward. The pressure my leg was gone, my foot slid down from the hole, and my soul was on a hard surface again. Reached a clear path. With one jump from there, ran to my house. The swimming facade didn't look threatening now. The house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and the creatures that just were hidden under the snow. I tripped over the doorstep and smashed into the door. All my hurt, I still managed to notice the claw marks. As if a dog was striking the wood with its paw, demanding to be let in so it could escape the cold. I hadn't noticed these marks when I was leaving. The heartbeat in my ears was much louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already in our front yard and Mom had locked the door? Drowning in fear, I pulled on the doorknob and it immediately gave way. I rolled into the hallway and shut the door behind me. Porch planks creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs. My fingers slipped off the lock, and I couldn't click it in place. I gritted my teeth and pulled hard on the iron knob, whipping it between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Someone was standing on the other side of the pitiful, flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than blankets. Wheezing breath reached into the house as it crashed at me in waves. It smelled of pine and sweat. Mom peeked out of the kitchen and chastised me with the same frigid voice she always used when talking to Dad. What exactly didn't you understand when I told you never to slam the door? I didn't mean to. I snuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone, and the breath was too. If there was someone in the first place, of course. Here, mere 5 meters away from Mom, my fear was slowly weakening, melting like snow in spring. And with the last bit of strength I had left in my body, too. My legs gave way, and I propped myself against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. Mom's expression had changed immediately. The cold mass of strictness and attachment was gone. Mom looked the same as before, all those quarrels. She finally saw my condition, my wet pants plastered with snow. Where have you been? What did I tell you, huh? I told you to stay home. Am I nothing to you? I got afraid she would cry. I reached out to her like when I was little and wanted her to cuddle me. Mom regained her composure fast and put on her usual face. Her eyes shined like steel, her voice rang out. Your dad couldn't find his cigarettes. Be honest, did you snatch them? Were you smoking in secret? There was someone chasing me. I thought... I stuttered as soon as I started explaining myself. Tears welled up in my eyes. Mom leaned toward me and sniffed my clothes like a beast, searching for the smell of tobacco. Then she squinted her eyes in suspicion and looked to the front yard. Her expression changed in an instant. She covered her mouth with her hand. Look, over there, at the fence. My heart thumped as if I became prey once again. My pursuers were following me in the field. I could swear that I've heard something scratch at the door, just like my nightmare. Mom beckoned me with her finger, and I gathered all my remaining bravery to look into the kitchen window facing my fear. I could really discern some hairy silhouettes swimming in the snow through icy winter patterns on the glass. Dogs. Just a small pack of strays with no name and owner, barely reminding of the hungry monsters that live on the edge of the forest. Oh boy, were you scared of them? I think they'd rather be scared of you, Anton. They were chasing me, like a bunny. And what if they're rabid? The smile slowly disappeared from Mom's face. I was looking at the dogs as if it was the first time seeing them. What if they attack Olia? Mom? We should Dad shoot them all. Mom, look, they're alive! Huh? What? Are you friend or foe after all? Make up your mind. You're not a little kid anymore. Well, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants among a pack of stupid strays. What for? What use do I have for this? Mitten. Of course. A dark and sticky mitten that belongs to a lost boy made a squishy sound in my hand. Seems like I was clutching it the whole time. That's my trump card as a detective. I already presented this clue to my mom. Mom, look! This is Vova's mitten. That boy the police were asking about in the morning. It's drenched in blood. I found it hanging on a tree. I can show here. It's called the police right away, like the officer told us to. Mom, look! Ew! Trying to doubt, so I grabbed my mom's contorted face. So she's trying to remember something distant, like someone tries to remember their dream, but the images slip away. Stop it this moment. Olia will go insane if she hears you. Shorty has trouble sleeping and whines all the time. And you joke around like this? That moment I realized the bed was actually wet from snow. There was no blood whatsoever. I wanted to sink to the floor from embarrassment. Come here, my boy, cried Wolf. You just stand there, come take your pills. A golden colored pill reminiscent of a dead wasp fell in my hand. I took one during breakfast. Don't talk over me. I told you to stay home and you... Dad would have given you a good whipping for that. Come on, take it or you won't be able to sleep at night, and you have school tomorrow. I had to swallow the bitter medicine, drinking it down with similarly awful water that gave off a taste of chlorine. Maybe it wasn't Vova's mitten. Maybe it wasn't mitten at all. Just like the forest monsters and Olia's owl. Am I going mad? What's happening to me? Either the pill had an immediate effect or my overexerted brain didn't let the fear inside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing yawning indifference along with it. Anton, you done? See, you can do it when you try. Take off your coat. Are you asleep? No, Mom, I was just thinking. What about, I wonder? It's just something silly. Mom scrutinized me with suspicious eyes, as if she wasn't sure she was looking at her own son and not some doppelganger that came from the forest. Is everything alright? You had the exact same expression when the policeman asked you about the window. I'm alright, Mom. She heaved a deep sigh. Fine. It seemed like the house had changed. Some of its fabric became discolored. Fingerprints appeared on the bathroom tiles. Light bulbs also felt different, dimmer and yellower. Even the saliva inside my mouth had a different taste. A melody from Aladdin could be heard from the upper floor. Olia was done rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to other tapes. I slowly changed to my home clothes, stopped before the sink and studied my reflection in the mirror, like I was trying to solve one of those spots of difference puzzles. Then I went upstairs. Jafar and Iago's voice died down. Monsters, Ghosts, and UFOs. Encyclopedia of Paranormal Phenomenon and from Roseman Publishing. Learned about the Loch Ness Monster, Medusa, Gorgon, and Bigfoot from there. Is this even centered properly? No, it isn't. Olia is always scared of the book. She could barely handle sifting through the monster and alien sections with me. But the middle part, where they started to talk about ghosts, really freaked her out. I remember hunting ghosts after I read that book. I measured the distance between items on my table every evening and checked if they had moved due to some supernatural force come the morning. They didn't. I mean, even if they did, it could have been the wind. But to be honest, what was I expecting? To meet Casper the Ghost? I'll try a Ceratops figurine. I know about all sorts of dinosaurs, velociraptors, Afroventors, Hypsilophodonts. Close enough! Remember going to movies to see Jurassic Park back when they still lived in the city and taking pictures with the T-Rex in the hall. It turned its head and roared. It was awesome. Next to it was a Robotech Transformer. I love this cartoon. When a jet fighter speeds up, and the intros among the sounds of blaster fire, you know your next 20 minutes will surely be amazing. Zentradi space station was captured. Rick, get ready for battle. I dreamt of becoming an artist since my dad bought me my first comic book. Fly magazine was the coolest. I especially liked the Big Space related edition with alien monsters and that funny episode about a gendarme. First Soviet and Russian periodic adult comics magazine, extremely popular during the crazy 90s. What made the magazine stand out was the refusal to wear or to use material from its foreign counterparts. I started drawing all kinds of stuff since that day. I seem to be getting pretty good at it. One of my letters even got published in Fly once. Maybe someday I'll even publish my comic? Maybe. That scared what is this? I fucking see you. Forest didn't look as grim during the day. Single tree branches in the distance, and the snowy field between our house and the forest brought sleepiness to my eyes. Sometimes I would still catch myself looking in the window at the icy treetops instead of doing my homework. One of the drawers was empty. I hid the mitten in there. Where are you, Vova? The simple action drained the last bit of strength from me. I sat on the bed. Only then I noticed there was someone behind the curtains, and my tired hand dropped to the sheets. Whether it was due to medication I took or the stress I underwent, the room began to contort as if the wind was blowing the walls out like a pair of sails. The corners of the room bent and undulated. The only stable thing in the whole room was the figure between the windowsill and the curtains. A flimsy piece of cloth was stuck to my hidden visitor. It reminded me of burial sheets. Olya? Supposed to be standing there. I stood, licked my dried up lips. Yeah, Olya, it's so funny. The silhouette was unmoving. It was enveloped softly by the curtains, as if a thick layer of darkness was there, not a human being. Reached out toward the curtains. Ba-doom, beat my heart, controlled by medication. The wind sang in the field with a chorus of voices. For a second, I wanted to return to the bed, just lie down and watch the person behind the curtain, knowing full well they were looking back at me. They're looking, without blinking, waiting for me to fall asleep. Plastic rings rustled against the holder when I pulled open the curtains. Gotcha! I knew it was you from the beginning. A blindingly bright halo lit up above Olya's head, with the setting sun as the background. My sister was shining. When she was just a baby, Dad always used to say she was shining with happiness. I always retorted, but Dad, she's not some flashlight. But I brought her to the window one day, and the sunlight poured on her smiling face. I felt like I was holding a light, woven child. I saw everything. Oh, really? What did you hide? She was just like Mom when she was little, before she put on her sad mask of tiredness and switched to her commanding tone of voice. Nothing, just Olya rapped the table and her eyes round and asked, "You stole something hid there? Are you a thief?" What? Don't be stupid. I didn't steal anything. A clear image came to mind, that mitten hanging from a tree branch. What if I did steal it after all? From the forest? From the tilted figure standing behind black trees? Olya could be selfish and stubborn when she wanted. Then show me. Swear that you won't tell anyone, then I'll show you. Olya wore a plotting smile. I swear on Mom's heart. An oath she heard in one of the movies about the pioneers we watched. Don't say things like that. Olya nodded and made a gesture with her hand, locking her mouth with an imaginary key. She was filled with curiosity that was flashing in her giant eyes. I opened the drawer and Olya leaned in, holding her breath. It looked like there was not just a simple mitten, but some sort of exotic critter. Is this someone's mitten? She said that as if she couldn't understand what she saw. A certain boy lost it, got lost himself. Now you understand how dangerous it is for kids to wander into the forest, right? It must be really cold out there. Will they find him? They will. The police are going house to house, showing his photo to everybody. Olya traversed the room with care and pressed her tiny palms against the window. And why are they going to the houses and not the forest? Are they scared? The question caught me off guard. The police aren't scared of anything. They've already scouted the forest. Yeah, right, flashed in my clouded mind. Did they really check every nook and cranny where the darkness, cold, and whispers of icy branches dwell? If that's the case, how did they miss the mitten? Or did it appear later? For me. I changed the topic, as if trying to get Olia as far away as possible from the forest thicket. It may get a reward if I go and find the boy myself. A lot of stuff like that happened in the Wheel of Fortune. Sounds cool, right? Olia wasn't listening. She was piercing the forest with incredibly adult eyes, uncharacteristic for her. What if the owl got him? Nonsense. An owl wouldn't be able to lift a human. But you know what? I picked my words with the utmost care. I forced them out of my overexerted brain. Stay away from the forest. I think it's... how should I put it? It's cursed or something. It's like in a fairy tale? No, more like in a spooky tape our parents hide from us. Spooky tape. Spooky tape. Sure. Olia shivered and stole a glance at the window. I saw you running away. Someone was chasing you? No, it's just... I was hurrying back home so Mom wouldn't be worried. As I looked, as I looked at my sister, my heart was tearing apart. She was so fragile. It was so easy to stifle her light. A gust of wind, and her small fire would be gone. You're lucky. Mom won't even let me go outside. I'm like a princess in the tower. Can't go anywhere. I'll die from boredom here. You're wrong. No one has ever died of boredom. And you have me and your cartoons, and Mom and Dad will be good to each other soon. You know what I wish for on my next birthday? Wish for Mom and Dad to turn to children so we could go play together like we used to. Yeah, and if you make them as small as bugs, you place them into a little box. Olia giggled and tugged at my sleeve. Tasha, let's go watch Aladdin. I said Alduin. Too much Skyrim. Fatigue went over my desire to be with my little sister. I was washed over by some sort of heinous apathy. I'm too tired. I don't want to. Come on. It's so boring alone, and Mom's always busy. We can pick a cartoon you haven't seen before. I know all of our tapes by heart at this point. Not all of them. You haven't watched Peter Pan? Remember how you fell asleep in the middle of it? There's so much happens after that. Let's go. Maybe a bit later. Should I tell you how it ends? Let's leave that for tomorrow. I won't tell you tomorrow. I know, let's play hide and seek. No, Olia. Then draw me a dino. Olia, please. Draw it. Leave me alone already. I blurted out without thinking, and then I was immediately taken back. I never screamed at my little sister like that. Olia stared at me in shock. Her lips started trembling, a precursor to tears. My chest was seething with disgust and embarrassment. What is happening to me? I hurried to prevent Olia from crying. Alright, you win. Let's watch cartoons for a bit. I don't wanna. I came up to her, put my hand on her soft head. Let's go. Let's watch Peter Pan. Boo! You'll fall asleep again. I smiled and lifted her chin. Her eyes were wet and felt bottomless. I promise I won't. I'll draw you a full Triceratops later. Hooray! Sire Pops. Well, close enough. Olia rubbed her eyes with the sleeve of her pajamas, and a shining smile returned to her face. I'll go ask Mom for condensed milk and bread, and you rewind the tape. The bread is fresh, just how you like it. Alright, just be careful not to spill the milk, or you'll be yelled at again. Want to bet I won't spill it? The tape is somewhere in the nightstand. Look for it. Olia just peered into the doorway, and I dragged my feet to the neighboring room. A piggy bank. Olia was saving money for a real puppy because Dad said taking care of him will take a lot of money. Olia's countless toys. An old teddy bear is the main attraction here. Olia doesn't sleep without it, and she digs her nose into its fur when she sleeps. There's a scary window where Olia sees that accursed owl every night lurking in the dark. Olia keeps curtains open during the day, but as soon as the twilight comes, she shuts them tight, so she wouldn't see that pair of hungry eyes outside. The old photo on TV was gathering dust in the corner. All that was left was clicking the button on the front panel. The tube warmed up and a familiar white noise started dancing on the black screen. I almost reached out to turn on the VCR when the noise calmed down and a blurry image appeared for a moment. It was a dark taiga forest, just like the one outside my window. The picture split the screen in half. What in the HE double fuck is that? Something creepy resembling human speech was coming out of the speaker. Just a few minutes later, the scenery was again overshadowed by noise. Did I catch some rogue signal? Local TV station only really showed Soviet cartoons, and even that was pretty rare. Only just recently, I used to always watch Robotech before school. It was so awesome. Maybe I should tinker with the antenna. What if I catch the channel again? On the other hand, Ollie asked me to find the tape. It would be nice to disappoint her. But in my sleepy state, I didn't have the strength to do all of it. Peter Pan. I sifted through the shelves full of dolls, blue hippos from Kinder Surprise. I found the tape I needed thanks to a shabby spine. I got the black rectangle from its box. Neverland. Tape inside, it rustled when rewinding to the beginning. The rustle was lulling me to sleep. Cousins attacked me while I squatted before the TV. I just rolled in my head, me and Oya flying above the forest, tumbling in the soft clouds. My little sister was laughing, but her smile became more and more forced with every passing second. I noticed that the clouds underneath us part, bearing the bristly pine tops. Swampy darkness slurped among the trees. The wings are no longer able to hold us, and Olia. You haven't started without me, have you? My sister brought up the tray with an unevenly cut bread and a whole can of condensed milk. I rubbed my eyes. No, come sit. Mom and Dad are arguing again. They're going through rough times. Rough times are lame. On the screen, Wendy was hiding Peter Pan's shadow in the dresser. Olia was entertained by the cartoonish dog, Nana. Maybe Mom and Dad will buy us a dog too. Yeah, right. I'll have my own dog in Neverland, and a cat, and a parrot. Olia smeared a slice of bread with a thick layer of condensed milk and handed it to me. Have you lost all your baby teeth? Obviously. Olia frowned deep in thought. Peter Pan has baby teeth. What if they won't let you go to his land with adult teeth? We'll think of something. We'll ask Dad to alter your age in the passport. Why would Dad forge documents? Olia took a bite from the sandwich and started talking with her mouth full. He will. I heard Mom say he did that before. Do grow ears as big as Dumbo's. Olia got worried and touched her ear. I smiled to myself. My little sister was silent now. She just devoured bread, watching the adventures of Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and James Hook. That is Captain James Hook to you, you disrespectful little shit! As if she got sucked into the fairy tale Neverland. To be honest, I also imagine myself there, in a land where one never ages, where no one argues over little things, where no one listens to fights and the sound of broken plates at night. It felt like I was dreaming, with my eyes still open. My sister screamed, pulling back to reality. Tasha! Shut the curtains fast! Why? No one's watching you. It's dark. When it's dark, the owl comes. I'm scared. I got out of the bed, fighting my drowsiness, and closed the curtains. It would be best not to look outside, toward the treetops, toward the taiga forest, which seemingly drew closer and closer. Of course, it was just a visual effect from the shadows of branches and scraping the snow. Tasha, Mom thinks I made the owl up, and Dad, too. Thinks I'm a liar since I'm small. But the owl exists. Honestly, it does. You believe me, right? That it comes every night and... I swiftly grabbed Olia's hand and looked her in the eyes. I was trying to transfer at least some of my courage and determination. Does I really have those qualities? Yes, I believe you, alright? Just don't nag our parents about it anymore. They're already dealing with a lot, so they'll just get mad at you. Come and tell me if anything happens. And don't look out the window. But it wants me to look. Doesn't matter. Act like it doesn't exist and never existed. Like it's made up, just like Mom and Dad say. They'll get tired of waiting and fly away. Follow Peter Pan's adventures as if nothing had happened. As if the forest didn't kidnap kids, as if our parents weren't tearing each other apart bit by bit. Captain Hook was running away from the crocodile, and Peter Pan was headed to London on a gilded sailboat. By some miracle, I lasted longer than my little sister. Only as eyelids had dropped, she started snorting lightly, resting her chin on the side of the bed. I stood up and left Oya's room. I was looking out the window, studying the field when Mom peeked into my room. Enough flying around. It's your first day at school tomorrow. Go to bed. You're to sleep properly. You don't want to be teased for being sleepy, right? Adults think everything is so simple, as if sound sleep would ensure my classmates would like me. I covered myself with a blanket up to my neck and listened to the house humming, to something invisible rustling in the corners. Then her voice had a question for me. Do I want to hear the mysterious flute again? Yes or no? Maybe it's just part of growing up, and I can't fully understand my own desires. The forest wailed behind the barrier that was my walls. Some ethereal entity wandered the fields. Branches shook as if calling for me. The wind howled on in the night. My thoughts were like annoying flies that entered my head, and before becoming weak and tangled, I didn't notice how I fell into slumber. It has come after all. The day I feared most, the first day of school, or the first day of a new school term. Wow. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm going to be done with this episode. I don't have time for episode 2. I have things I need to do. So that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. And as always, if you like this video, please like, subscribe. Have any suggestions, giveaway tips, or comments, put in the comment section below, and I'll see you all next episode.